Good Friday morning. It is July 12th, and everybody better hang on to their hats for this story. Sebastian Rogers was a 15-year-old boy in Hendersonville, Tennessee. He is a high-performing autistic as far as I am aware. According to the reports and things that I have seen and heard from all kinds of different creators. We'll get into a list of that later. If you'd like to see a list of the creators that I follow and get some of my information from, yes, I get information from other creators, but I do my best to vet it and try to make sure that the information I'm giving is as true and accurate as possible. But in the end, my channel, Criminal Action, is about theories and different facts and ways that things could happen. So Sebastian Rogers, as a 15-year-old boy, apparently had a wonderful day with his mother, including arcade time and shopping and, in my opinion, a nightmare for autistic children because of all of the different sensations bombarding them. One of the biggest things about autistic children that I know of is they can very easily get overwhelmed. And with autistic children, a routine is very, very key. And apparently, according to the story that the mother gave, Katie Proudfoot, there was a routine, and he was happy. She doesn't know how this happened. And I'm going, but you're the only one home. Now, if I'm wrong in any of my theories, I'll be the first to say I'm sorry. But in my opinion, Katie Proudfoot holds the key to this whole story. The whole story. And I say that because she was the only one home. She really has not been doing much for interviews. And what few interviews she has done, the public has completely dissected and pulled apart. And me as a mom, if something like this happened, honestly, I could see not doing interviews because of all the dissecting. But here's the thing. If you are innocent and you didn't do anything, you really shouldn't be afraid of doing any type of interviews. You should be out there doing every interview you can, screaming his name, going out and searching, which, by the way, she's not, which she could have been told not to by police, but hey, I don't care what I'm told as a mom. One of my kids is missing, I'm going to have a friend or an aunt or an uncle that my kid knows very well sitting here at the house waiting to see if they walk through the door while my happy little butt is out there on the streets searching. I'm sorry. As a mom, I would not be able to sit here. But as a mom that knows what happened, she may not need to search. She might already know. Might. Again, I want to put a disclaimer on my video that all of the information found on my channel is to be taken with a grain of salt. It is speculation, it is rumor, it is different facts that I have been able to find and pull together. But bottom line is, it's all my opinion. Please do your own research and form your own. So let's get into this. We start the day before. Easily start the day before he went missing. And Katie Proudfoot says that they went out to eat with family. They went to the local bowling alley for the arcade games, which in itself, the noise in a bowling alley with an autistic child is a nightmare. But Could have been something that he wanted to do, because you can't find arcades anywhere anymore. Most malls are shut down, and that's where you used to find the arcades, is in the mall. Okay, with all the online shopping and that, malls are dying, so are arcades. In any which case, so they went out with family. They had dinner at a restaurant. I believe it was a steakhouse or a roadhouse. I don't have my notes in front of me at the moment because I'm talking to you and I'm trying to remember as much as possible. So they go and do all this stuff, which is a hellish nightmare in my opinion for any autistic child, let alone a 15-year-old. But hey, he may have been high performing enough that some of this stuff didn't bother him. And then he goes home. He plays with the dogs. 9 o'clock is bedtime. And according to his mom, she said, okay, it's bedtime. He said, okay, I love you. Love you, puppies. Good night. And went off to his room. And she stayed in the living room. According to an interview that I watched, she was reading a couple of chapters for school. Apparently she's furthering her education, which I'm all for moms that want to further their education. And around, this is where it gets a little dicey, between 10:30 and 11:30, from stories that just don't jive, between 10:30 and 11:30, there was a thud in his room, and she did not go check on him. She yelled across the house, hey, did you fall out of bed? Are you okay? Apparently he answered back, said, yeah, Mom, it was fine, go to bed. Now there's speculation, did she tell him to go to bed? Like, I don't care what you're doing, just go to bed, I'm tired, I want to go to bed as a mom. Trust me, I understand that fight beyond belief. As a mom, if your kids are up, you don't go to bed. Maybe that's just me being overprotective in the way I was raised. But hey, shout out, Mom. You stayed up for hours with me because I refused to go to bed. So here's the deal. At 10:30 or 11:30, there's this thump, or what she describes as a thump. And she called out to him. Apparently everything was fine. She told him to go to bed. Well, she was on the phone with her husband, Chris Proudfoot. Enter Chris. Everybody says Chris, Chris, Chris. Yes, I think Chris was a factor to this. But according to the story, he was not home. He was at work in a completely different town, 3 hours away, I believe Memphis, but I could be wrong on that, as a crane worker. And we'll get more into that here in just a little bit. Before I go further, please like the video so more people see me, and subscribe to my channel. It'll really help me out. It costs you nothing. I do not have any memberships at this point. I am still a baby channel, so help me out, please. Anyway, back to Sebastian. It's really, really strange. Because he was in this house with his mother. Supposedly, go to bed. Everything was fine. And the next morning, she gets up at 6 o'clock to get her son ready for school on Monday morning. Normal mother routine. We get up, we get our kids up. She goes in to wake him up and he's not there. She does not describe any signs of struggle. She says all of his shoes are there. She can only say that, he might be in this outfit because that's what I seen him go to bed in. Okay, well, I can describe what my kids go to bed in. She did. But he just vanishes in the middle of the night between 10:30, 11 o'clock, somewhere in there where she heard the thump, and 6 a.m. Poor Sebastian Rogers, 15-year-old autistic child, poof, gone. Just vanishes. His shoes are still there. His mom says he took a flashlight, which I think that was an insertion, and the reason for that we'll get to. So, why? Where is he? It's been 5 months. He went missing back in February. Where is he? Has there been dogs? Apparently, yes. But according to LE, Law Enforcement, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, TBI, it was all false hits. All false hits. This is really weird. No scent leaving the home. No child in the home. Just poof, gone. Is he David Copperfield? Is he David Copperfield? I don't think so. I think something happened to this boy. Whether it was at the 10:30 thump or later on in the night, I think something happened inside the home. And Katie is the key. Now, there's been video leakage of supposed flashlights. Now, Ellie wants you to think it was a trash truck. But I'm sorry, a trash truck does not walk through yards. My trash man says I have to have my dumpster out at the road because I am fully capable of doing so, or they're not going to pick it up. Yes, we have disabled elderly here in my area. I live in Missouri. Not too far from Tennessee, but I live in Missouri. And they will, upon request, and you have to call the company and say, hey, I'm a disabled person. If I have my trash can here, where it's easy to get to, will you come pick it up for me? And in some cases, they will. Some cases, they will. But they will not go around the back of your house. They will not go into your yard. They say it has to be close to the front of your house. They have to be able to see it. And it has to have easy access and an easy way to roll it to the truck. Being that it has to be out in the driveway, in the front of the house, whatever. They have to be able to grab it and easily roll it to the truck to dump it. And then they'll bring it back. And put it exactly where they found it. Well, or as close to exactly where they found it as possible. Now, why are these flashlights going in between the houses in this video? This surveillance video from a neighbor catches lights coming through a ravine between the houses. A drainage ditch for flooding. I don't know exactly why it was put there, but the simple fact is these lights are coming between the houses. And in another video, there's an SUV sitting in the dark, no lights, in the direction, sitting there. That the flashlights cut out, but they can tell it walks up to this vehicle. And the flashlights look like they're coming from the Proudfoot property in between the neighbors' houses and up to this SUV. You can tell it's an SUV because of the shadows. Please go and find this video. I'm not going to put anything up here right now. I'm still learning on how to do that. But the video is there. It's easy to find. Just look for security footage of Sebastian Rogers in Tennessee. You'll find it. Okay, there's a bunch of creators out there looking at it. Bullhorn Betty, which is one of my favorite creators. Shout out Bullhorn Betty. It's criminal action coming at you. I hope you don't mind. But she does do a wonderful job. She was out there in Tennessee with a pole and a camera trying to get the right angle. And she does discuss all of that in her deal, as well as Nick Barris, which is the first person, from what I believe, to have this video put it out there. So please go look them up. They're wonderful. They explain quite well. And they're great people. And trust me, I try to catch Bullhorn Betty as often as I can. Anyway, in these events, okay, so she wakes up. He's not there. She runs around the house apparently and gets dressed. Apparently she gets dressed. I don't know about you, but if my kid were MIA, I wouldn't care if I was in my nightgown driving or running around town trying to find my kid. I would not care what I was wearing. My kid's missing. I'm going to find my kid. I don't care what I'm wearing. I don't care how my hair looks. I'll throw it up in a messy bun, make it look like it's on top of my head. I really don't care. My kids come before my vanity. Okay, I have all but no vanity now that my kids are 8 and 9. I don't have time for vanity. I run a brush through my hair and go. That's all I do. And half the time I don't even run a brush through my hair. I throw it up in a messy bun and cover it with a hat because I don't have time. I'll brush my hair later on this afternoon when I have 15 minutes. Okay, so if your kid's missing, now my hair's a total mess. I am so sorry, guys. I even brushed it and looked all nice and pretty for you this morning. Anyway, the simple fact is a kid just doesn't vanish, let alone an autistic child. So let's go into the theory of he just walked out. He walked out the door. I don't know why he walked out. Bull, Katie Proudfoot. Those tears, in my opinion, are fake. You know what happened. Okay, now, I've watched interviews with Katie and Chris. I've watched interviews with Seth. And I've even done my own picking. And in my opinion, Seth Rogers, you're clear. You are a phenomenal dad. You have been through surgery and you're trying to get back out there. Kudos, please. If I can shout out to anybody on here, if I can reach anybody that can help you, I hope it does. Okay, Seth, you're awesome. Chris, Katie, seriously? You have some shade on you. Because things just don't add up. And you're not helping the situation because you're saying you're being clear and transparent, and in my opinion, you're not. There's too many things missing here. Too many. For anything to add up. Now, if I go through all the interviews and I go through all the theories out there, there's just so much. Your head could explode. Really. Your head could easily explode with all this information. So, let's get back to Sebastian Rogers, okay? Apparently, he left without his shoes. His dad says that's no chance. No chance unless he was running for survival. If he was so afraid he was running out the door from something, then maybe. Now, why does he say this? Because when Sebastian was younger, he had an unfortunate incident, okay? He was outside playing, and somehow he found a patch of red ants. And he was barefoot, and it was just a really, really, really unfortunate event. So, from that point on, he was very adamant about putting his shoes on. If he was this adamant from a young boy putting his shoes on that his shoes were by the door, why would he walk out the door and not put his shoes on? It doesn't make sense. He would put his shoes on because as an autistic child, those nasty memories, those nasty sensations that he remembers would prevent him, if not give him an anxiety attack, walking out the door without shoes. Okay, I have an autistic stepson, and I know when things go against his tics, or quirks, as some people put them, he all but has an anxiety attack. Or he gets extremely aggressive and defensive. Fight or flight. People, fight or flight is so ingrained in autistic children. That is how they survive. Fight or flight. Okay. He would not walk out of the house without his shoes. He would put a pair of shoes on. Now, did he mistake and possibly put, I don't know, Katie's shoes on? Or Chris's shoes on? Who knows? But that boy would not have walked out the house without shoes on. Okay. Now, Mom said he took a flashlight. That's all she could find really missing in his room, his flashlight. Why didn't he take his Switch? Or any of his other electronics? Okay. Most children don't leave their home without their electronics. If he was going to run away, where are the missing clothes? Where are his favorite items? His favorite articles would not be in the house. They would have been packed and out the door with him. Because as an autistic child, you're going to grab onto the few things that you really care about, and you're not going to leave them behind. If you are leaving on your own free will, you will not leave them behind. So do I think Sebastian ran away? Hell no. Sebastian, in my opinion, did not run away. Something happened. And I think something happened at the 10 o'clock thud. And I think the rest of it is nothing more than a cover story. But how did they get him out of the house with no scent? The dogs, all false scents. Well, here's the thing. I'm not so sure they were false. I'm not so sure they were false. They tracked the same path, those flashlights in the Nick Bears video. Several of the dogs went through the same path as those flashlights. Okay. Interesting little tidbit here. There was one of them that not only followed that path, they went up on the road and continued to follow a path that ended up in a water retention pond at a construction site. And the dog that has never jumped into water jumped into this pond. Could have it been misbehaving and it was hot and just needed a bath? Maybe. But very, very rare do working dogs, while they are in their vests, uniforms, whatever you want to call them, very rare do they stray from their work. Working dogs love their jobs. Well, most of them do. Most working dogs love their job. So, Was this a false hit? There was footprints around the pond. That's why they drained it, right? They drained it and walked the pond, the muck and everything. I think that whatever happened to Sebastian happened in the home at 10:30, 11:30 thump. The 3-hour call with her husband, Chris Proudfoot, between Chris and Katie, was not an alibi for Chris, but for Katie. Also, a planning session. How do we fix this? How do we get him out? How do we make this right so none of us get in trouble? Especially Katie Proudfoot. I mean, if nothing else should be neglect. She can't produce her son. She cannot produce any evidence of her son walking out of the house. Now, there's videos. They say they see somebody taking the garbage to the road, but it's so grainy they can't tell whether it's Sebastian or Katie or somebody else. But according to the way he walked back to the house, they can tell it was Sebastian. Okay, yeah, sure. There is no sign of that boy. In my opinion, no legitimate, accurate sign of that child since the restaurant. Did he come home? Yeah, probably. Because his shoes were there. His electronics were there. All of his stuff was there. So yeah, I would say he probably did come home. He made it home. And Katie pulled into the garage. Okay. Why is she parking outside the garage now? Well, maybe because she doesn't have to. Do you ever stop to think that pulling into the garage and shutting the door was a safety quirk of Sebastian Rogers? Maybe Sebastian needed her to pull into the garage to feel safe, and now she doesn't have to do that because he's not in the vehicle, so she doesn't have to. Okay, that explains why she's parking outside. Maybe she's letting everybody know she's home. Who knows? We were getting down to the bottom of what happened, and at this point, nobody knows but Katie. And they really haven't done much, in my opinion, to try and make Katie talk. They supposedly have done an interview, and they believe the interview. She's ex-military, people. She is trained to make people believe her if she falls behind enemy lines. Let's not forget the training. They are taught this stuff in basic training in case they go further and get deployed. Now, how do they get Sebastian out of the house? If the dogs were false scent, how did they get Sebastian out of the house without any sense? Without any video of him walking out of the house. They seen somebody take the garbage out. They would have seen somebody walking on the road. And if it was a 15-year-old, they'd be able to tell it was a young somebody, even if it was grainy. Even if it was grainy, they would have seen something. The door open. The shadow come through the door. They say there was a shadow outside his window. Did he crawl out of his window? Without shoes? I don't think so. Because he would have been stepping on bushes and mulch that was right next to the house. And as an autistic child, that sensation would not be comfortable at all. So either he was running, fearing for his life to leave that stuff behind, in which case, what'd you do, Katie? Why was he scared for his life? Or did he leave the house with help? Well, let's go into that theory. Okay? How would they get him out without any scent? Plastic? Bag? Did you know that the military bags, the pickle bags in that, are waterproof? Anybody that knows that something is waterproof, it is most likely scent-proof. Has anybody counted any of the military bags? Has the military bags from when they were in military training and in the military, have they been accounted for? Because they get to bring that stuff home. Not many people know it, but they do get to take some of their personal belongings with them when they leave the military. And a pickle bag is big enough to fold a child and put it in. Now, I hate to be gruesome like that. I really do. I'm sorry. And please, please tell me this theory is wrong and I am on the complete wrong path. Make me eat my words. He's okay. He's at some camp that he wasn't supposed to go to, so they made up this story. Please, please tell me Sebastian's okay. But in my heart, and the way I feel about the whole situation, unfortunately, I'm not seeing a happy outcome for Sebastian. And I really, really, really feel for Seth Rogers and what he's going through. That man does not deserve any of this. So if y'all are watching, please. He has started a YouTube channel, and I have personally subscribed to him. But please subscribe to him. Help him out. You know, everybody's griping about these different accounts that he's building money. They're saying that he's making money off of his son's disappearance. No, he's not. If you had any idea how much it actually costs to have a constant search going, to pay for the flyers, that costs money. Alright, I know you can go to Walmart and have them print out 500 flyers. Yes, that's 500 flyers. Not thousands. He has gotten thousands of flyers. He has had posters made and put out. He has had yard signs made for people. That costs money, people. So please go to his site and sub up, become a member, help him out, or even listen long enough to get his information so you can send him something through PayPal. And I believe there are some sites that he's on that he has, like a GoFundMe site and things like that. You'll have to watch the other creators and watch his channel, other creators and his channel, to find out what that information is, because I don't have that right on hand. But we're going back to a child just don't vanish. There is a stepdad that is apparently out on the edge of things. There is most likely marital issues from what I've heard. Please don't take that as fact. I have heard there was marital issues because of Sebastian Rogers' autism and his difficulties that he struggled with every day that Chris could not handle. I believe Katie was doing her best, and maybe there was a snap, and it was an accident. And if that were the case, come clean. You may do time. But the simple fact is, only the truth will set you free from this nightmare. Only the truth will set everyone free from this nightmare that has been caused. 5 months a man has been missing his son. A son that I believe he loves very, very much. Now, in hindsight, does Katie love her son? I can't tell you one way or another. I can't decipher that from her interviews. But somebody knows something. Somebody knows something. And I believe that somebody to be Katie Proudfoot. Now, let's jump back a little bit and go back into the night video where there's flashlights and a vehicle. If you find this, you can legitimately see the vehicle's lights turn on the side of the road. Just in this direction of these flashlights. Okay. Now, Ellie says that that was an Uber meant for a house at 5 o'clock down the way. Okay. Then why was the car sitting at the intersection at 3 o'clock? Last time I knew, even the pre-ordered Ubers don't show up 2 hours early. They just don't. Because who would want to sit there for 2 hours waiting for their ride when they could be at home sleeping another hour? Or hour and a half, whatever it took. The simple fact is this is all very, very, very suspicious. There's a 15-year-old boy, autistic child, high performing, albeit, according to his teachers, high performing autistic child that is missing and has been since February. This is 5 months in the making. As far as I am aware, they have not done any forensics in the house. As far as I am aware, they have always treated this as a runaway. They've never done forensics. Hello, TBI. Even the Center for Missing and Exploited Children says, even if you believe it's a runaway, the house, room, wherever they were last, should be treated as a crime scene. Just in case. 5 months down the road, that house has been cleaned, and it's been cleaned, and it's been cleaned, and it's been cleaned. There is likely going to be very, very little forensics now, if they do it now. Now, what does Sebastian's room look like? Seriously. Because a child that has gone missing and you're hoping they come back, changes a little bit here and there. I mean, he might grow into, by the time he comes back, he might be in bigger clothes. So, as a parent, you think about this thing, if my child comes back, what if he's grown? I've got to get some clothes and put them on his bed for him when he gets home. But a child that isn't coming home, there's going to be two things that are going to happen. Either that room is going to become a shrine and nothing is going to be touched, dusted, nothing. You won't go into that room except for to sit on the bed and cry. Or you're going to clear the room out because you're free of them. They're not coming back, so we can use this room otherwise in a different way. Pack all of his stuff up. At least we still have it if he comes back. What does Sebastian's room look like today? Will we ever find out? Probably not. Is this a case that he's going to be missing for years? According to Chris Proudfoot, this is a case, quote unquote, this is a case that will be studied for years to come. Does that mean your stepson's going to be missing for years to come, Chris? Do you know something? Katie, it's time to come forward. You know more than what you've been telling us. Come on. I hope you guys see this. Seth, I hope you are seeing this, and I really, 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 really hope, for your sake, that I'm wrong. And if I am, I have no problem coming on here and saying, thank the Lord I was wrong, he's safe. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen. So I'm going to close this up. I've been talking for probably around 45 minutes now. And you guys probably have things to do. So, again, I'd like to say that everything on my channel is of my own opinion and theories. It is nobody else's. It is gathered from information that I have found through other creators, content, and online research. But I do encourage you to do your own research. And I do encourage you to make your own opinion. And I please, please, please ask that you be kind. Hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more information. And always, be kind. There's too much hatred in this world to be spreading more. Have a great, great weekend.